Good morning, guys. Bonjour. This morning I wanted to talk about red flags. Normally, the first thing you think about, I don't know about you, but naturally, instinctively, the first thing you think about when you think about red flags, I don't naturally think about myself when I think about red flags. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I think about red flags, I immediately think about the red flags and the people around you, the people in your life. But we have to be intentional in forcing ourselves to focus on the red flags in us. Now, in regards to other people, I'm not saying not recognizing the red flags of other people are not important. It is important because our intuition, our gut always tells us, something's wrong with that behavior, something's wrong with that attitude, or that decision making. They're presenting subpar behavior. There's always that red flag that you're like, something is not right. I wrote a devotion the other day about ignoring versus acknowledging. Now, when you ignore the red flags in someone else, 9 out of 10, you're ignoring the red flags in yourself too. You're putting a pause on it. The reason why I say that is because I don't know anyone that is hale or whole, that is working on themselves, genuinely working on themselves and looking in the mirror and calling themselves out and working on the issues that they have to work on, that's going to accept subpar behavior and red flags in someone else and ignore it. If you're not ignoring and putting the pause button in you, you're not going to ignore and put the pause button in somebody else. I always tell people all the time that I am the common denominator in all of my fellow relationships. I don't believe it was anyone's fault that the relationship didn't work. I actually believe it was my fault because everyone showed up as themselves. They didn't hide who they were. I made a decision to ignore the things that I was not okay with, and I felt that I could change certain people. And the fact that I ignored the red flags in them, I was also ignoring the red flags in me. They weren't the only ones jacked up. I was jacked up too. The reason why I was with them is because I was jacked up. And so when we're able to recognize that and admit that the common denominator is us, then we're automatically able to see it in other people, and we're not going to be able to accept it in other people. We're not going to be able to accept whatever behavior it is, subpar behavior in other people. The last thing that I want to talk about is that all of us have that thing that shows up in our lives, in all sections in our life. It shows up in our personal life, the workplace, the office, our friendship at the dentist, in a gas station. There's that one thing that it's always showing up in every aspect in your life. And that's the thing that we need to work on. Because if it shows up in our friendships, it shows up in our romantic relationship, it shows up when you're at the dentist, it shows up when you're in traffic, it shows up everywhere you go. The problem is not everybody else. The problem is you. And you really got to look into yourself and figure out, okay, these are red flags in me that's not allowing me to have any successful relationships. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about I had to learn this in the workplace and everything else. And it doesn't mean that people don't need to be called on their stuff. But before you start going around calling people on their stuff, you need to be able to look in the mirror and call your own self out. So it's not easy to think about ourselves when we think about red flags, because we automatically think about other people. But when we take the time to consciously be intentional about looking within, we'll be able to be the best version of ourselves and be able to attract the exact person that we are on the inside, not just the outside. Have a nice day, guys.